The Kenyan police have deployed an additional 144 officers to Haiti. The contingent was greeted at the international airport in Port-au-Prince by the interim Prime Minister and the head of Haiti's Presidential Transition Council. This marks the second foreign deployment in recent days following the arrival of 60 Salvadoran officers on Tuesday. Kenya is leading the mission to support Haiti's national police in their efforts to counter gangs that control large parts of the country. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has announced that he will not attend the upcoming G20 meeting in Johannesburg, South Africa. His decision came just days after President Trump threatened to cut off funding to the country. Rubio stated his view that South Africa is confiscating land and that certain classes of people were being treated very badly. In response, the South African president defended the country's land policy, asserting that no land had been confiscated and that the policy aimed to ensure equitable public access to land. Officials reported that 58-year-old Kenneth Eugene Smith was pronounced dead at an Alabama prison after inhaling pure nitrogen gas through a face mask, causing oxygen deprivation. The execution lasted approximately 22 minutes. While the state described the method as humane, critics condemned it as cruel and experimental. This marked the first use of a new execution method in the United States since the introduction of the lethal injection. The US president had previously proposed the idea of building a grand ballroom in the White House to past administrations. Now Trump appears determined to pursue this vision during his second term. On Wednesday, he stepped up to the East Room podium to sign an executive order aimed at barring transgender women and girls from participating in women's sports. During this key moment, he mentioned his plan for a ballroom. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio oversaw the seizure of a second aircraft belonging to Venezuela's leftist government in less than a year. He travelled to a military airstrip in Santo Domingo, where a Dominican Republic prosecutor and a US law enforcement representative jointly taped a sign reading "Seized" on a Dassault Falcon 200 jet bearing a Venezuelan flag. In an interview, he expressed gratitude to the Dominican Republic for its cooperation and participation with the US justice system. Michael Jones, a pilot from Canada, used his flight path to draw out a massive maple leaf and, in the process, send a subtle but pointed message to his US neighbours. He showed Trump exactly what he thinks of the US president's recent moves. He skillfully piloted his two-seater Grob G115 on a 2-hour trip around southwestern Ontario on Wednesday morning.